Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Victor and today I'm bringing to all of you another video. Today I want to talk about South Korea. South Korea is by far my favorite country, my top favorite country in Asia. I went to South Korea in 2018 in March. It was absolutely magical and fantastic. I had never been to Asia, as I said, and for me, since then, I loved it when I was there, and until this day I still love that country. South Korea has a special place in my heart. So without further ado, let's get started. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. So let's get started. In March 2018, I flew from Barcelona, Spain to the wonderful city of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. As I had an 8-hour stopover in this wonderful city, I decided to make the most and I went to visit the Anne Frank Museum before heading to South Korea. I forgot to mention that Amsterdam is one of my top favorite cities in Europe. Here we had just arrived in Incheon Airport in South Korea after a 10-hour flight non-stop from Amsterdam. At this time, I was so happy to be in Asia. I just was not able to believe it that finally, after so many years dreaming about this trip, it had just come true. And after passport control, we bought our train tickets and we went to the metro to go to Seoul. It took us around 30 minutes to get to the city. That evening, we decided to go for a wander, as we were desperate to discover one of the most fascinating cities in Asia. While walking down the street, I was wondering whether I was dreaming or not, as I was in a different continent, surrounded by a different culture. Hi, Richland.
Hi. How are you?
Fine.
Are you enjoying Seoul?
Yes.
What have you just brought?
Well, we bought this. Later on, we decided to go to the street markets because we really wanted to try Korean food, as we had heard that it's extremely delicious. Now I would like to talk a little bit about the city. Seoul is the capital of South Korea, located in the north of the country. It has a population of almost 10 million people. Currently, Seoul has a metropolitan area of almost 26 million people, making it one of the biggest agglomerations in the world. South Korea is one of the most successful economies in Asia, being the 10th richest country in the world as 2021. After such a long journey, I was so desperate to find a nice restaurant and to try finally Korean food. After a few minutes, we finally found the right place to have dinner, and this is what we had. On our second day, we went to visit Seoul's Gyeongbokgung Palace. This was once the residence of the royal family of both Koreas. The palace was built in 1395 and is located in northern Seoul. Unfortunately, in the early 20th century, much of the palace was destroyed by Imperial Japan. Happily, since then, the walled palace complex is gradually being restored to its original form, so you can come and enjoy it. Now guys, let's talk about tickets. If you want to enter this wonderful place, you will have to pay a very small fee. If you are an adult, you will pay only 3,000 wons. It would be €2.22. And from the age of 7 to 18, the cost is 1,500 wons, which would be like around €1.11. Later on, we went to have a nice cup of tea in a typical cafe located in the old town not far away from the palace, with a local we met in Seoul.
Thank you.
Sitting on the floor.
But this is traditional.
Yeah.
She was such a kind person, and then she started explaining us the proper way to sit down in a traditional Korean house.
It's not.
What do
Like this, no?
You can do like so whatever.
Hi. We were just taught that that's not a Korean tradition, is that?
This is like very religious one.
It's very religious, but not when we're about to have tea. Right, are you ready for some tea?
Yeah.
This is the menu. Let's have a look. Sweet rice drink. That's nice.
This is traditional drink. 이거는
Now let me show you how a traditional Korean house looks like inside. Sincerely, I thought that it was very similar to Japanese architecture, but I suppose that people think exactly the same about the similarities between Spain and Italy. As we went in spring, the weather was marvelous and it was very pleasant to go for a nice walk around the quarters of the old town in Seoul. And before saying goodbye to our new friend, we decided to go back into the city, and she took us to a nice place where she thought was one of the best spots in the city to buy souvenirs and to have dinner. I have to admit that I deeply admire South Korean people because they managed to rebuild their capital and make it a very prosperous city after the Korean War, which began in 1950 and lasted until 1953, leaving this as a result. And as I wanted to know more about the history of the conflict, we decided to go on our third day to the DMZ, which is basically the demilitarized zone between South and North Korea. In this place, we learned about the history of the conflict, and we had the opportunity to see the train station that is planned to be used to go to Pyongyang in case North Korea opens the borders. On our fourth day, we were very happy as we were delighted by a performance, which was held by a group of young Koreans in front of a palace right in the core of the city. I should say that I was very glad to witness such a lovely event, and what I enjoyed the most was the fact that they were wearing traditional Korean costumes. Right after that, we went on a cable car up to the Seoul Tower, from where you can appreciate the metropolis, having a 360-degree view from up there. I realized that people like to buy a padlock and write any sort of things when they are there. Sincerely, that was my favorite part of the day. Now guys, let me introduce to all of you the only one, the most iconic street in Seoul and without any doubt in the whole of Korea. And this is Gangnam. This is the business center of Seoul and where all the big companies are located in the city. If New York has the Fifth Avenue, London Piccadilly Circus, Madrid La Gran Via, and Moscow Tverskaya, then Seoul has Gangnam. So guys, this is the end of my adventure in Seoul, South Korea. Please, if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up, and see you on my next video.